Alright guys, I wasn't gonna do it. I'm sure at least some of you saw that a creator named Bradley reacted to my video on the broken state of Destiny. I found the video entertaining and I respect other people's opinions, and I even left a comment on his video debunking some of the things he said. And I was honestly just gonna leave it at that. But in that video, he said he wanted to have a discussion, so let's have one. Because I do think it's a very important discussion to have for the future of Destiny 2. Now, much like he did, I'm going to make a disclaimer. I have no problem with this person. I can accept criticism, and there was more criticism of me from his comments section than from him. He was not disrespectful to me, he was just giving his perspective as a new player. I do not want anyone from my audience going and harassing this guy. It's not what I'm about, and I hope it's not what the community I have created is about. I don't watch his content, but from his comment section on that video, it seems he is a new player to the game and someone who is greatly enjoying Destiny. So having a creator like him or Mr. Raffle Waffles come to Destiny and be positive about it is a great thing for the game. This game needs new players to survive and thrive, and my content has always been centered around helping slightly more advanced people get better at the game. So if the game is only bleeding players, that is bad for Destiny, for Bungie, and most assuredly for Destiny content creators. So again, I don't watch his stuff, but I think it is great we have a creator that is enjoying the game and spreading positivity. Genuinely, I'm happy he likes it, and I'm glad his good vibes are rubbing off on other people and helping them to enjoy the game. That's nothing but a positive thing. Another thing I want to note, and we'll come across this later in the video, but he does talk about how videos like mine drive people away from the game. So I want to address that first. First, I've had numerous comments from people saying that my content is the only reason they still want to come back to Destiny. That makes me extremely proud. I'm honestly shocked when I read those comments. I truly am, because I'm just some guy. I have no ego about being a creator. I don't feel like I'm an influencer. I'm just a player of the game just like you guys, so it always surprises me when I hear that I can affect people's decisions. Like, the definition of the word influencer is someone who can influence, but it still shocks me when I hear stuff like that. So anyways, to bring it back to Brad's video, perhaps my video is divisive and not great for community sentiment. But Brad, if you see this, please know that I have made my recent negative videos for one reason, to provide feedback to Bungie. I don't do it for views, and I mean that. There's a creator named Darkside Royalty, and his whole shtick is just hating on Destiny. I never want my channel to be an all-negative channel. At all. Honestly, it is really tiring and saddening making those videos. I don't really enjoy it. I've always just made content I'm inspired to make, and as my love for the franchise dwindles, I'm trying to grapple with why I'm feeling this way about a game that I used to be so passionate about. I don't want to make negative content on this game. It's not good for my mental health, and it's why I'm moving on from Destiny within like a week. I started doing YouTube because I love Destiny, and I wanted to share that love and passion with other people and help them get better at the game. Any negative videos I have made in the past are about wanting a better Destiny. I made one video like 4 years ago criticizing them for charging us Glimmer to reset the artifact and apply mods to armor. I'm sure I just gave some of you PTSD just hearing that. You probably forgot all about it, but that was a thing back in the day, and in that video I said it was antithetical to build crafting. That they were actively discouraging people from trying new builds because it was so costly to change your mods, and I hated it. I wanted to tinker and try new things. I was a tiny channel at the time, but I still provided my feedback, hoping to spark a conversation. And I doubt it had any impact, but you know what? We can now reset the artifact for free and apply mods with no Glimmer charge, and that has made the game 100 times more enjoyable for me and others like me. Okay, so I went back and actually looked at that video, and I'm gonna include a couple snippets because it aged really well. And this is why feedback is so important. I posted this April 18th, 2021, and now we do have in-game loadouts, which is basically what my idea was in that video. I just didn't call it that, but a lot of the stuff I was talking about is basically what we have now. So again, this is why feedback is so important. Say I then wanted to go heavy into a stasis build for my hunter and use Resonance Siphon and Glacial Inheritance. Well, that is going to be 12,500 Glimmer please to reset your artifact. Ugh, fine. And now go through the entire artifact and reselect every mod just to get to the end. It's so annoying. Want to reset again? That's double. 25,000 Glimmer this time please. Why? It's so regressive and for no point. Quite literally no point. Because here's the thing. Your armor only has 10 mod points. It is not like you can stack Passive Guard with Glacial Inheritance and Sundering Glare. They all go on your class item and cost 6 energy apiece. So the only thing you can do is have them all unlocked, but you'd still have to pick which one is best for your build that you're running. But at least you can have the option. I am plus 25 for artifact bonus. I'm season rank something around 330. That is extremely high. Most players will not get to that. So reward the people with plus 25 artifact bonuses. You can keep the 0, 1, 4, 7, 10 unlock requirements. That is fair and it doesn't take too long to reach, but why cap the artifact selections at 12? Why? It makes no sense. I don't want to have to reset my entire artifact just because I want to try out volatile conduction in a game of Gambit. Again, your armor energy slots already limit what mods you can equip on them, so there is literally no need to cap the artifact unlocks. Please change this soon. I'm tired of having to pay Glimmer to try fun new playstyles. Let me tinker to my heart's content. I have a few other gripes with Destiny at the moment, but I really wanted to hit on this. I don't see anyone talking about it on forums that I read, and I wanted to bring attention to the topic. I originally made a long and thoughtful post about this topic on the Destiny the Game subreddit, and it was pulled off immediately. I have no idea why, I did not swear, I was thoughtful with my suggestions, and just wanted to see if the community agreed on some of the points I had. Sadly, it was taken down, so I decided to make a YouTube video on it instead. On the Deepstone Crypt security. But basically, I like to run a full Warmind Cell build, so let's just take a look at what that would look like. One quick thing, in this example, I'm not even changing armor hardly at all, just the armor mods and exotic pieces. So my actual stats are not even optimized, just optimized for armor mods. But with presets, you could even have the optimal armor pieces for stat splits as well. Actium War Rig, so I don't have to reload my Xenophage. Probably run Machine Gun Scavenger and maybe Shotgun Scavenger. Again, I always min-max way more than is necessary, but I just really like the builds in this game. So I just can't help myself, and I do it every single time. So that looks pretty good. We've got all the major, not quite all the major ones. If I were to swap to this, I could have Fireteam Medic. But yeah, basically Burning Cells, Ridge of the Warmind, Wrath of Rasputin, Global Reach, Actium War Rig, so I don't have to reload my Xenophage. So what did we start at? About 185,000 Glimmer. So just for the first encounter alone, that was about 5,000 Glimmer, and takes a little bit of time to set up. And even that isn't fully optimized. I don't have my normal Actium War Rig on me, but I would probably run a couple Machine Gun Scavengers. Again, you have to look for all that, so if you could have presets, that would be super nice. Probably Grenade mod as well, because I like having lots of grenades to pair with Bottom Tree Sunbreaker and the Sunspots. Again, I know the raid isn't very hard, especially the opening encounter, but I just like to min-max at all times. And then we would go to the next encounter. I'd probably keep this on, or you could swap to Middle Tree, throw on Kiris, and then you're running the Lament. I like to run my Gnawing Hunger with Rampage spec in succession for taking out the servitors. And then for all this stuff, I would swap to Supercharged, Charged Up, wherever that is. Then I would have on Taking Charge, which I happen to already have on there. And then I swap to Arc for this, keep Outreach on, need that so I can equip Lucent Blade. And then I'm able to do extra damage with the Lament. So that is typically what my second encounter build would look like. And then we go to the third encounter, and it's back. My video on the recent decline in the quality of the game is an objective fact to anyone who has played for a long time. So providing that feedback is a good thing, as it makes a better game for everyone. Or at least that's the hope. And a better Destiny benefits everyone. It benefits the company, the players, the creators. It's a win-win-win. I do not make those videos for views, because here's the thing with those videos. Every video I make, I have no idea how it will perform. I think all my videos are of good quality, but I talk about this a lot. I legit thought my subclass school series was going to catapult my channel. The people would watch those and appreciate the months of testing and effort that went into making them, and I thought I would grow like crazy. And by and large, they all got like 5,000 to 10,000 views a piece, which is super low. The quality and effort you put into videos does not directly correlate to views. In fact, it is sometimes the opposite. So I never make videos to chase views, because after almost 5 years of doing this, I'm still surprised by which videos perform well and which videos perform poorly. And as for the negative videos, I barely make those videos at all as a percentage of my content. Let's go through my videos and see how many are negative in any way. Alright, so here's my channel, build video, advice video on how to get better at being a solo player, or really how to dip your toes in, build video, kind of nostalgia videos because I'm quitting the game soon, dungeon feedback, just giving my honest opinions on the dungeon. So maybe this one could be construed as negative, but it's literally just how I feel about Sundered Doctrine. This is a negative video, so we got 1 out of 10 so far. Solo Flawless Guide, so this took 5 days to make, and I got 23,000 views. So let's just click on this, and we can go to Analytics here. And when we go to the Analytics, so I got home on a Saturday, and I think I released this on like a Wednesday. So I was basically in the lab testing and doing Solo Flawless strats for like all of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I've got 24,000 views, made $110 off it. My thumbnail guy was busy, so I tipped him. So I paid $50 for this thumbnail. So I'm netting $61 for about 5 days of work. So if you think I make any of my videos for money, seriously, fuck off. I do this because I like to help people solo flawless dungeons. I would not put 5 days of effort. I could shit out a build video every single day. I'm being so real. I have so many ideas for builds. I could go into a Legend or Master Lost sector every day, get 10 minutes of footage, splice it all together. Probably would take me 5 hours start to finish. Well, I'd have to craft the build first, but once I have the build idea ready to go and I actually like get the footage, script it out, okay, maybe a little longer than 5 hours, but you get what I'm saying. It's not 5 days of work like I do on my Solo Flawless guides. I work my ass off, so yeah, miss me with that shit. So anyways, back to the content. Helpful stuff, helpful stuff, helpful stuff. Build video, god roll guides telling people what weapon rolls that I would be chasing personally. Let's see, artifact preview, more builds, just giving my thoughts on what my favorite heavy specials and primaries are. This one maybe could be construed as negative because, I mean, it's got a negative connotation, but it's genuinely how I feel. I used to like all the build diversity, but now I do feel like if you want to basically min-max, you almost have to run Prismatic, which is a problem for like game balance and stuff. So again, just providing my feedback, I think it's a little overtuned, but Bungie does that with every expansion. We've had it with Stasis, Strand, everything releases hot so that they can sell their expansions because they want people to buy it. So this one, definitely negative, but again, I don't think anything I said in this video was wrong. It's coming from the GM's mouth at a GDC talk about how they view creating Destiny. And like I said, I'd always seen clips of that video. So I wanted to watch the whole thing and break it down in a way that was like easy for me to understand why the game never does the things that I think it should do to make it the best quality that it can be for its players. So again, that was just, sure, that's a negative one. So I'll give you, even if we throw in the Prismatic one, and even if we throw in this, so that's 4 out of like 40 videos that are negative. So yeah, I'll give you that. That's like 9 out of 10. So right now we're at 10%. But this was like in December, I think. And then after this, it's like, and I guess this one could be also construed as negative because sort of similar to how Brad just didn't like my framing of the video, that I said it was broken and it's all semantics, and we'll get into that. But I did call out Mactix in this video. Not him as a person, just him for this build video that he's made a few times now on Young Ahamkar's Spine. And basically, I just wanted to break down why it's not good in endgame content. And I had a ton of people in the comments of that video saying they just thought they sucked. They had heard this build was amazing. They tried it out. It didn't work for them. And they just thought they were doing something wrong, or they just thought it was on them. They trusted Mactix and all the people saying that the build was good, and they couldn't figure out why they couldn't make it work. And so in that video, again, I make my content to teach. And in that video, I was trying to teach why this, because people were telling me, dude, you gotta try out this build. And in my heart of hearts, I just didn't feel like it was a strong build because it didn't really fit in. I solo GMs, right? Which is about some of the hardest content you can do in the game. I figured it wasn't good, but I was like, you know what? I have to give it a chance before I write it off. I gave it a chance. And then, yeah, I used that video to break down why it wasn't good. So it could be construed as negative, but it wasn't what I was going for. I'm trying to teach people the game. So There you go. I'll give you another one. So like 5 out of 44, say. But after, and again, this is all recent stuff because, again, I've slowly been disliking Destiny 2 more and more, which makes me sad to say. Like, I fucking love this game. It's the reason I created a channel. And yeah, so that is sad. And like I said, that's why I'm moving on. I don't want to keep making negative content. And Bungie has clearly shown that they don't give a fuck about people like me or you, to be honest. They care about padding their pockets. The people that make the decisions care about that. The devs, this is not on you. I have seen tweets from past devs and stuff like Dirty Hippie, and she says that they've tried to get in-game clan housing in the game for years, and it gets shot down. Why? No ROI, no return on investment. You've seen things like that over the years if you're plugged into the community. So yeah, they're just like showing who their true selves are. Here you go, Destiny wishlist. These changes would make Destiny 2 way better. Again, this, I polled my community and then I basically did a video talking about trying to give feedback, trying to say like, hey, these things would make the game better. So again, I paid like $34 for my thumbnail to my thumbnail guy. So I made $13 on this video, did a poll, compiled all their talking points and whatever, and my own wishes and all that stuff to make $13. And I spent hours on this video. And yeah, so when I'm giving this feedback, I've always been giving feedback. That video just happened to pop off because yeah, people like to click on negative stuff. Sorry, like what am I supposed to do about that? It's how I'm feeling and I'm trying to give feedback. Here, I give feedback. Video doesn't do that well. 15,000 views is not bad. It's pretty average for my channel, to be honest. But again, I don't make it for the views. So in my off-script stuff just there, I did talk about that GDC talk, and like I said, I made that so I could make sense of why Destiny was feeling worse to me. And believe me, it's a tough thing to grapple with falling out of love of anything, be it a person that you used to love or a hobby you once enjoyed but now you can no longer do. It's happened to me over the years with various things and interests that I've had, but people grow and change. And after I watched the video, I just thought it was quite interesting, and that's why I made the video. To show management's philosophy to its players. If me pointing out things about the game that are just true and it drives players away, that is not my fault, that is Bungie's fault. Because they aren't doing right by their players. So when you have creators like Brad defending their shitty practices, that actually has a negative effect on the game. It emboldens the company to keep churning out broken releases so they can keep the money train rolling because the players prove with their wallets that it's acceptable. I still love Destiny, but I do not like Bungie at all. They do not care about you, and they prove that with their actions. I do believe the developers care, and props to them. They just cooked with these new aspects, and they're still trying to make fun and engaging content for us to play with like the seasonal activities and Nether doing all this stuff. But all the time gating and manipulative practices, that doesn't serve to make the game better. It only serves the suits to keep players addicted, to keep them on the treadmill so that they keep playing the game. Joe Blackburn was a beauty and he clearly loves Destiny. He was the former game director, but Pete Parsons, the CEO, he does not. These guys are businessmen. They're not gamers. Remember that. So with that being said, that is why I don't want to continue to play Destiny. I do not want to support Bungie's manipulative practices no matter how much I like their product. Luckily for me, the product's quality has been on a steady decline since about September, and thank fuck they delayed Final Shape by like 4 months because this player base deserved a polished product to cap off the Light and Darkness saga, and Final Shape to me was a masterpiece. But since then, they are just churning out the minimum viable product to keep players on the game, so it is making it a lot easier to move on from for me personally. So a lot of commenters who are like, he's a sellout, blah blah blah, it's feedback. And Brad, as a creator, you know how YouTube works. Trust me, I try my best not to clickbait, and I have for years. But you also have to do what is going to get people to click, and that's just a fact. I was going to title this video Bungie's Biggest Bootlicker, but again, I didn't want to come off as negative, and out of respect and not wanting this to look like some petty drama between two creators, I went for a more subtle title. Here's hoping people still watch the video, because I could have went a lot harder than I did, trust me. For the video in question, I could have titled the video, "This dungeon boss is not receiving proper damage," and have a thumbnail of the Zoetic lock set. No one is going to click on that, and then Brad, you wouldn't have a video to react to for views. So his problem was the messaging. Which, you know what, fair enough. Like I said, I called out Semantics recently for promoting the Young Ahamkara Spine as a great build for endgame content, and again, I want to reiterate, I have no problem with Semantics as a person. He seems like a chill dude and he makes high quality content. My problem was the messaging. I thought it was misleading to call the build good for GMs, and I can and did back that up. I proved in that video why it wasn't good for endgames, and Semantics can make any builds he wants and share that with the community. All power to him. I just didn't like that the title implied that it was good in endgame when it wasn't. And that is the same problem that Brad had with my video, that I was over-exaggerating Destiny's issues. And in that video, my main critique was the Zoetic Lockset boss, but that is just scratching the surface of everything wrong with Destiny. I just didn't address those things in that video, and again, that's on me. My hardcore community knows all the issues, so they understand it, but Brad is too new. He just took what I was saying at face value. So he is like, why is this guy making such a big deal out of damage being wrong on a single boss with dozens of bosses and countless pieces of content to play? And you know what? To that, I say, fair enough. It does seem like a dramatic overreaction to a small issue. And in that video specifically, I didn't address all the problems, so if you did only ever see that one video of mine, you don't have the context needed to see the bigger picture. But he doesn't know all the shit the players have been through over the years. But more importantly, recently. We keep getting more and more things not working with every update. The tonic system was like the main function of episode Revenant and it didn't work for months. The fucking Waitgate scandal, which is totally wild and was brushed off by Bungie for years until our amazing community came together to gather data and prove that shit. And only after then did the Bungie engineers dig deeper and realize there was a problem. I'm sure it was an honest mistake, but it happened at a terrible time when sentiment was already low. And they did their best to make up for it by giving us some amazing god rolls. Again, props to Bungie, they recognized their mistake and they did their best to make up for it. And real quick, I do want to shout out our amazing community. Luckstruck with his checkpoint bots that help countless people. The makers of Destiny Item Manager are an absolute godsend. I literally have dim up at all times on my side monitor. I cannot play without it. But sadly, it also lets Bungie off the hook. All these passionate players doing work for free for them for stuff that should just exist in the game. Mossy Max for amazing detail on damage numbers, Corp Project for the amazing infographics, Cbro for all the work on Raid, Dungeon, and GM Report, the makers of D2 Foundry and Light GG, the amazing folks who compile everything about the game in the Destiny Data Compendium. You make my job so much easier, and I am eternally grateful. But I recently was at a friend's house while he was playing Outriders, and that game just shows you the exact damage numbers and everything. Why can't Destiny? And then I was at a different friend's house and he was showing me Deadlock. That game is in alpha and it has an incredible testing zone. Yet we are on year 8 of D2 and there is no testing ground. And we even used to have a semi-decent testing ground in the Tribute Hall, and they fucking got rid of it. Honestly, it's just unacceptable, and the more pissed off Bungie makes me, the more I see through the veil at how little they actually care for the player experience. Again, not all. The devs care. They want these quality of life features in the game because they are artists and they want to make a product as good as they can. But the suits see everything as a spreadsheet. Well, how can you monetize a testing ground? Can't? Then no. It's scrapped. Again, time gating exists for one reason, and that is to improve their weekly active user metrics, not to enrich the player experience. And that is the motivation of this video that I'm currently making as well, to have a discussion and tell the players to start demanding more from the developer who gives us just enough to keep us addicted, but never enough to keep us satisfied. Again, I do not want to research every broken thing in Destiny for this video, but stuff like Rainix not working with Tether for months and Nether releasing and then breaking Onslaught, 0 Hour being completely unfinishable for some reason, I could go on. There are a ton of issues in the game, but my video didn't address those. So while he thinks the game isn't broken just because of one dungeon boss, he either doesn't understand all the issues, or he is willfully ignoring those things to disprove my video. I hope it's the former and that he wasn't being malicious and that he's just uninformed. So with all that said, let's finally jump into his video and start giving my perspective to what he is saying to try and clear things up.
Quick disclaimer, this video isn't made to hate or start any type of drama. It's meant to start a conversation that I don't see the community having too often. There's too many echo chambers in the world nowadays, and without conversation, there's no growth.
I do agree there. Yeah, conversations are good and echo chambers are bad.
I hope you enjoy. We'll see what he says. Bungie has lost the community's trust. See what he says about it.
What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video, I'm going to rant for a bit. I made a video back just before the dawning saying that Destiny is in the worst state I had ever seen. And I didn't mean that from a player engagement or a community sentiment perspective. I meant it purely from a this game doesn't work properly perspective. And a week after that video, the dawning dropped with a litany of performance issues. So many things were broken with the dawning, which is quite shocking to be honest because it's a completely recycled and reused event that hasn't changed in like 5 years. So for it to be so broken is quite baffling. We had also had a ton of issues with the new Dungeon Vespers host, which saw hunters not able to use Tether for numerous months. That is just wild to me. And then their so-called fix for this was to reduce the number of servitors, which has had damning effects on the Rainix Unified encounter. You see, the boss health pool is balanced around there being 10 servitors, so when they dropped it to 6 but didn't adjust the health pool, it now makes that boss much harder. What I originally praised about that boss was its unique design, that it relied on a damage strategy that we've never really seen before in Destiny. Basically, every boss is a single target. Sure, some have very short damage windows like Atrax, and others have super long damage windows like the Corrupted Puppeteer, but basically every boss in the game is a single target. So Rainix was a breath of fresh air as it brought value to area of effect damage strategies, relying on ignitions, consecration, glacial quake, blade barrage, and wave frame grenade launchers for your damage meta options was really nice. But then this haphazard fix has only served to make this once cool and unique encounter an absolute chore, reducing the number of bosses on area of effect damage.
Okay, that's not a good. Hold on.
Strategy.
Yeah, he addressed this in the description. I guess he was rendering a video at the time. So he was getting choppy frames while watching it.
He's way less effective, while still meaning single target meta options don't work either.
I think it might be his video.
So now you just have a boss encounter that is not balanced properly. And that boss design segues perfectly into my next topic, which is the Zoetic lock set. Truly one of the most unique boss encounters we've ever gotten. What is so cool about it is the player has full control over how to manage the encounter. You can do a bunch of short burst damage phases, or 1 or 2 super long damage phases. It allows for such a variety of damage options to work.
Some good damage.
This boss is also the motivation for me making this video. You see, since launching, crits do not work on this boss with a big eye for a crit. Bungie has acknowledged this themselves, saying when damaging Shrieker bosses, players receive critical damage feedback, but damage is actually regular base damage. And this is where I have a huge problem. For a long fucking time.
Okay, so this is already no offense to this guy, no hate to this guy, but it's already stupid because it's a very complex engine that they're running. It's a video game. It's not going to be perfect on release. Like,
why? This was his first real critique of the thing. So my Discord friends, or my clanmates, they sent me this video on Discord, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll check it out, see what he has to say, see if he agrees, disagrees. I didn't know who this guy was. And so anyways, he says this, are we at a point now where every publisher is just putting out such shit quality video games that we should just expect the content to not work? This is just ridiculous, this argument. It's like, yes, we should expect everything to work. I don't care if it is not our job as players of the game to feel bad for the devs that they have a complicated engine. You make it work. They make it work with other things. But like I said, over the last 8 months, the quality has been slipping drastically and they're not making it work. And we'll get into why I think that is. Again, I'm no game dev and I have no contacts at Bungie. Anything I have is just public knowledge of articles I've seen and stuff. But yeah, we'll get into that. But to say, oh, it's complicated, woe is us, like, fucking spare me, dude. The game should work. You design a boss, you test the boss, you make sure everything's working, and then you release it. If it's not ready for release, don't fucking put it out.
Like, genuinely, has nobody in this community ever played any other game? Ever? Bro, there's bugs and glitches all the time when they release new content. This is just a stupid argument, honestly.
No, and see, I know I'm not saying he's a bad guy, and again, from what I've seen in his comment section, he's very positive, and toxic positivity does get thrown around as a thing, but what it does is then it emboldens these people to keep getting away with this stuff, to keep churning out minimum viable product video games and just being like, oh, well, it is what it is, deal with it or don't play. And then, yeah, we as an entire gaming community just get worse quality video games because we prove that we will accept it by paying with our wallets. Trust me, man. I used to love Diablo 2 and I played Diablo 3. I did not buy Diablo 4, not because I didn't want to play it, because I fucking hate Activision Blizzard. And have you seen like all the scandals they went through with the freaking breast milk in the fridge and all that stuff? It's fucked up, the work culture that they had there. So I know I'm only one person, but if everyone didn't buy Diablo, they're going to be like, oh, what the hell? We need to make some changes. Bobby Kotick is a piece of shit. And anyways, like I said, bad argument, bad faith, because if you put up with these things, then you just get worse quality products. So I completely stand by what I said.
Honestly.
Now things have been releasing broke.
And it's like, okay, oh, my girlfriend cheated on me. Or no, my ex cheated on me. She slept with like 5 guys. And then, oh, well, my current girlfriend cheated on me, but she only blew this guy, so it's not a big deal. Like, no, it still is a big deal just because it's not as bad. So him saying, oh, every game has bugs, you should see XYZ game. No, bad faith argument. Just because other games have bugs doesn't mean it's acceptable for Destiny to be littered with bugs.
Broken and not working as intended. Kinetic.
But they say broken. It's not broken because you can still beat the boss. People still get through the dungeon. It's not broken.
This is a semantics argument. He just doesn't like my phrasing, which was pretty much my biggest criticism in his comment section, was people like, well, I don't like how this guy phrases his videos. He swears a lot. That's reductive. You're not having a good conversation when you swear. Like, okay, sorry, that's just my vocabulary. Like, what? And then me saying broken. Well, the boss is broken, and you want some proof? Here's another endgame player. Disgusting, LMAO. So, huge shout out to Spider Reviver here. They actually took the time to test everything that I was just honestly too tired and upset to address. Because I was doing my own testing. I knew Echo of Undermining worked, and he doesn't have it, but Facet of Dominance is basically what Echo of Undermining is, but for Prismatic. It also works. I know this because I went in there on all 3 classes and tested strats for this boss. And I used, he doesn't have Withering Gaze on here. Oh yeah, they mention it here though. So yeah, Withering Gaze doesn't work. I noticed that on my Titan because I would try to debuff with Withering Gaze before casting T-Crash, and I wasn't hitting yellow numbers. Yet on my Nova Bomb on Warlock, which is also a 15% weaken from my grenade, I'm able to get yellow numbers on my Nova Bomb because it's hitting for 15% more. 3 times surges, doesn't work. Artifact, sort of works. Div doesn't work. Tractor doesn't work. Sanguine doesn't work, which I talked about in my video. Second Chance, I thought Twilight Arsenal worked because that's what we were using on our contest mode clear. So visually, it was going purple and you were hitting more damage numbers, but actually, it wasn't working. So massive shout out to this guy. Another thing is Tether was not working. That's a big problem because my teammates, we were running a Tether as well with a Hunter. Or maybe that was in a different run. But either way, actually, let me find Greppo's thing. So right here, from a world's first, this is spot on. From a world's first race perspective, this should never be the case. Sure, Atrax is an exception, but we are in a meta where optimization is rewarded. For my first clear, I used Tether with smoke bombs, trying to debuff as much as you could, which was a net damage loss. That's exactly my point. The best players are going to min-max and optimize, and they're actually hurting themselves because it takes time to throw a smoke bomb when you could just be laying in with Sleeper Simulant like we were in the video footage. And even me swapping to Sanguine. I didn't need to be doing all those swaps. I could have stayed on speaker sight for more survivability during damage. I'm not wasting time doing a loadout swap in my menu. All this optimizing that we're doing is actually hurting us. That is fundamentally fucked. Like, no, terrible argument.
It's just a minor inconvenience.
It is not a minor
You're seeing
inconvenience,
crit
and
numbers, but it's not doing crit damage. So the game's broken.
Yes.
Like, this is stupid, man.
The boss is broken.
Like I said, no hate to this guy or nothing, but I guess it was just time to pay the bills for a video like this.
I showed you 5 days, and I made whatever it was, $60 because I had to pay my thumbnail guy. Editing, testing, all that stuff. It's not time to pay the fucking bills. I don't make good money on YouTube. Not from what I used to make in my past career.
And this is why I said I have a problem with content creators that they make videos like this because of the almost 1,000 comments, you got people piggybacking off of what he's saying and saying, yes, this is ridiculous. It's almost like laying off almost all of your QA team is a horrible idea. What's the QA team got to do with crit numbers showing up but not doing crit damage? What's worse?
That was actually, I think that was the first reply I had to my Discord friends. I was like, what? That's exactly everything to do with QA. And on his video, there was an actual QA tester. He said, I agree with some of your points, but hearing that like made my eyes water or something, or my eyes twitch, because it's like, that's exactly what QA is there for. And we'll get into the QA thing later because he harps on that again later. So I'll just wait till then, but we'll talk about QA again.
Is that if it's a bug in our favor, Bungie's pretty quick to fix it. Do you know what a business is? If a business is losing money, they're going to get on it ASAP.
Yes, and Bungie has proven that time and time again. But to give them credit, we just recently had a bug where you could use all the class-specific glaives and swords on every character, and they're keeping that feature in the game. They've also done other things with like the crafting. They said, you know what? Go have fun. Go get your solo flawless dungeon emblems. Go wreck the game for a weekend. So yes, they do patch. I agree. They do patch. There was the frickin' Dawning thing where you could get the event card for free. That was patched within like an hour. They were all over that shit. Rainix, Tether, months. And again, not all problems are created equal. I'm fully aware that the Rainix thing probably is a much harder fix than the event card thing. But this person saying that isn't wrong. But there are examples where they have they've used a bug and turned it into a feature.
That's any business in life, whether it's video games, music, some type of different industry, manufacturing company, they're going to jump on it instantly. There's honestly not a strong enough argument for the complainer community of Destiny. It's just not strong enough. People want to bring, now we've gotten so far away from them sunsetting content or vaulting content, whatever you want to call it, that you can't really use that as a talking point anymore.
So in my the toxic mindset that's killing AAA gaming video, I had a lot of people say that was the straw that broke the camel's back for them. The content vaulting and removing content that they paid for, they left and they've never returned. And they're all team fuck Bungie in my comments. Personally, I didn't mind it. I understood where they were coming from. I don't play any of that old content anyways. For me, I don't care. For the people that do, they're totally justified. You pay for a product and you no longer get it, justifiable. So I see both sides to that argument. For me, it's not a big deal.
It was so much further along in the past. They said they're not doing it again. The only conversation that we can use to combat that is to maybe have one with them to, can we bring it back? Is there a way to bring it back? Blah, blah, blah. Instead of just complaining about it. It's like getting cheated on in middle school and you're fucking out of college now and still complaining about the same fucking thing.
Forget everything you knew about war games. The large-scale action game War Thunder will bring you a
so insane. It's annoying because I see this side of the community sometimes when I post a video and my video goes viral and it reaches a new audience, and this new audience is just regurgitating the same opinions that they heard their favorite content creator say.
I don't totally disagree. I do think as content creators, we do have some influence. But again, I've been one of the most positive, try to just teach the community, stick to the game. It's only recently that I have been critical of Bungie, and that's because, for me, I feel it is warranted. So, again, that's just, I'm making the content that I want to make, and they're giving us a shittier product, and I'm unhappy about it.
But their favorite content creator just needed a video to post so that they can DoorDash for the rest of the week.
That one pissed me off because I am quite healthy, try to work out every day, and every evening, for the most part, once Monster Hunter drops, I'll be doing some degenerate streaming. But yeah, for the most part, my girlfriend and I, every night, we cook supper together. And DoorDash, and well, we have Skip the Dishes in Canada, but it's absurdly expensive. And I like to think I'm pretty good with money, so I ain't about that. I haven't DoorDashed in years.
Fucking stupid. Stupid argument. See what else he's got to say. Now we're done shitting on him. See what else he's got to say.
Impacts, the seasonal artifact mod from last season is a great example. However, at least you could visually see something was up. You could identify it. How the hell can you identify you aren't getting crit damage when the game is telling you you're getting crit damage? We had heard
that's another thing. People are now one-phasing this boss. But we're complaining about.
That's aside the point. Like I said, I'm trying to make a solo flawless guide, and I can't teach properly when the game is broken. So yes, that's completely a me issue. I'm one of 5 people that might make a solo flawless guide on this dungeon in the Destiny community. So I'm like 0.00001% of the people. So sure, it bothers me way more than it will bother the majority of people. That's on me. But again, this is my perspective.
About this bug, so my team and I tested Whisper of the Worm, and our wipe screen damage was way off from our damage totals that we added up. But I'm a YouTuber who records on OBS, and I can do a recording and then watch it back and add up the numbers.
See, there again, we're using Tether. I mean, this wasn't all Void run, so he wouldn't use anything but Tether because you're not going to use Spectral Blades here. But again, it's just annoying that we're not getting 30% more damage from that Tether.
The average players are doing this. Way less than 1%. That's for damn sure. So what the fuck are average players supposed to do?
Look at that health bar.
Destiny 2 is a complicated enough game as it is, but then when you think something in your build should work because the game tells you it works that way, and then it doesn't, it's just truly hopeless. I started my channel because I loved testing things in this game. My highest viewed video ever is me testing a seasonal artifact mod. I used to love jumping in day 1 of a new season to test out the mods and see how they all worked. And by and large, when I made my video explaining how they worked, that is how they worked, and they worked as the description said. Now, you can't trust a single fucking thing these artifact mods say. It says it is supposed to work one way, and then it doesn't. And you don't know if you are the problem or the...
On that note, I have barely done any artifact mod testing this season because I'm just so over it, but I have heard there's that one where you get like crits with a void weapon. It's giving more class ability energy than intended. The one that's giving health back on the lightning strikes, it reads as though it only works on champions. So people are like, how are you getting health back on like Sutex videos and strats that I'm using? And it's like, well, you're not supposed to be, but the description's just bad. So again, I don't even know if that's intended or they just wrote the description wrong.
Game is, and this is a huge issue. Another issue on the Zoetic Lockset boss is that weapon surge mods don't seem to be working, and I believe this is true. On my contest clear, I had Sleeper Simulant and Sanguine Alchemy, and I wasn't missing any shots, and I was somehow being outdamaged by my teammates on the wipe screen, despite getting a supposed 25% weapon surge from the exotic, plus the extra 10%.
See, you can see, he's marked, so I should be getting 10%. I showed you in that tweet, but I'm not getting the 10% or the 25%. So I was genuinely confused. I'm like, because we all know Sanguine is about like the best DPS with weapons that you can get in this game. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, not saying my teammates are bad, but like we were all using Sleeper. We all had the same amount of reserves, but my Sleeper shots should be hitting harder and I'm not missing my shots. So why am I getting out damaged?
From marking the target. So
okay, so with this point, him saying that something doesn't work and it's kind of nerfing his damage and it's on contest mode. Okay, I can get behind him on that one a little bit. I can get behind him on that a little bit by saying if he was racing to be the first, if he was on the team to try to race to get the first one, yeah, that sucks and that's unfortunate. So I can get behind that frustration as it is a race, and as soon as somebody completes it, it's over.
Something was clearly broken. I then recently ran a master dungeon with...
Oh yeah, and somebody says the exotic's not dropping. Again, I didn't even mention that in my video that he's reacting to, but that was a big thing. And then there was something else going... Oh yeah, the day he posted this, like the hour he posted this, you couldn't get in because of centipede errors. So again, these are just objective facts that the game is not in a healthy state quality-wise, and I will fight that tooth and nail.
Sutek and Time Lord, and they both said that in the testing they had done, that surges don't seem to be working. And again, I have a huge issue with this. I spent the better part of 5 days working on a solo flawless guide, consuming info from around the community, and doing a ton of my own testing. And I want that guide to be relevant both now and in the future. But how many asterisks do I have to put in a fucking guide? Oh, in the future, Whisper of the Worm will be great here, but right now it isn't because of a crit.
That's content for you, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's content. You're gonna have. Man, is that? Wow.
Bug.
So I don't just shit out low quality content. So I have 50 video ideas at any one time just written in the notes app on my phone. I don't want to go back. And here's the other thing. As a creator, especially in the Destiny space, being first is like key on a lot of things. I wasn't first on my Geomags build, and I have like 12,000 views. Llama, very similar creator in size to mine, his views on that video are probably like 100,000 for the Geomags build. I'm sure our builds are of equal quality. He does have better editing than me, I'll give him that, and his content's great. I'm not saying it isn't, but a 2-week delay to my Geomags video drastically hurt those view numbers. But like I said, I'm just over chasing it. And my goal was to get that solo flawless dungeon guide out. So I was the first one, to my knowledge, with like a proper solo flawless guide. If I go back and retest everything once it's done, everybody's got their solo flawless emblem at that point. So no one's going to need my guide. Sure, it's nice, like next episode maybe, or whatever Frontiers is going to be, and there'll be new artifact mods, then you can make an updated one. But again, I'm kind of done with Destiny, so I wanted my last solo flawless guide to be proper and good, because I care about the quality of my work.
Oh, by the way, we have no idea.
Just remake
when
the
that'll be
video.
fixed. Sleeper
No.
Simulant is awesome right now because it does high non-crit damage, where Queenbreaker is strong as hell these days, but it's bad for this boss, thanks.
These videos are a ton of time and effort. I don't sleep very well for like 5 days because I'm always like I said, even when I'm not playing, I'm consuming Twitter information, finding out what other top players, the speedrunners, the Bog on My Dogs, the Sutex, the Saltagrepos, what they're doing. I'm consuming all this information so that I can make a proper guide. Like I said, I can't sleep because my mind's always racing until the video's out. Until I get my solo flawless and I put out that solo flawless guide, it's like days that I can't sleep. So yeah, no, I work my ass off on those, and I don't want to, like, it's a lot of work, and I don't want to go back and retest all those things and make that video again.
To the bug. Oh, you want to use...
Because it's not worth it for the views. Like I said, it's somewhat worth it for 2 reasons. Right now, like, I love doing that first solo flawless dungeon. It still is a fun and exciting experience for me. And then I love teaching others what I used or what helped me or what strats helped me. But like I said, to remake that video later, everyone's going to have their solo flawless guide, so they're not going to need the guide. So I'm not going to put in 5 days where I can't sleep just to get a fraction of the views. This one only has 22,000 views. I've made less than $100 on my current solo flawless guide, and again, I don't do it for the money, but it's like there's also a cost reward benefit. It does not benefit me to spend 5 more days testing everything and then make another guide.
Use Celestial Goldie? Well, sorry, you won't get crit damage. Guess you better use Anarchy Mountaintop or suffer until this bug is fixed. Oh, and by the way, I recommend a surge switch for all my damage rotations, but surges are broken, so don't worry about that right now. But
Dude. Yeah, they're broken right now. Make a video when they fix it. You get 2 videos with 1 piece of content.
in the future,
Again, I have so many videos that I'm not even going to be able to make because I am moving on. So right now, I'm just picking and choose like really what videos I want to focus on. So, and this guy doesn't know that. So like, anyway.
this is good advice. Trust me, bro. Oh, and in my own testing, Weaken with Faceted Dominance works on the Shrieker, but Withering Gaze on my Fusion Rifle doesn't for some reason. Maybe particle deconstruction is a problem. Oh, and speaking of particle...
No, so what you just said there, Akubaluku, that's a crazy name, but you're right, but I'm pretty objective with my opinions and point of views and stuff. I can always look at other people's perspective and take that in consideration and come out with an objective opinion, even though I could be biased. I put my bias aside. This game is not as bad as what people are saying.
I like this one. Imagine being this guy's wife. I have like an excellent... We've been in a freaking honeymoon phase for 2.5 years. She watched this video with me, actually. I was like, hey, Baker sent me this video. A guy's reacting to my video, and we watched it and had a good laugh together. So don't worry. No, my personal life and personal relationships are wonderful. Thanks, Welded Shut.
It's genuinely not. Using words like broken and game broken and all that shit because
straw man argument. This is just semantics. It's just criticizing not the actual problem, but the words that I'm using to describe the problem.
You're not doing crit damage when crit numbers are coming up is just an insanely wild thing to say. They're exaggerating to make a point, but
yes, that's YouTube. Sorry. And it's not even really exaggerated because this is a huge fucking problem.
It's creating...
I think he's just too new at the game to understand how bad the problem is.
A mob-like mentality for Destiny 2 haters that still continue to play.
I'm not a Destiny 2 hater. Like I said, I'm a Bungie hater at this point. Fuck that company. But you don't make over 700 videos if you hate a game. And if you did, you'd be fucking unbelievably depressed. And I am not. I love my life. But yeah, I'm not a Destiny hater. There's no way I would still be making content on it if I hated it.
Play the game. It could be at its worst, and that's fine, but it still ain't that bad.
Deconstruction.
He's not even totally wrong there. Like, this is a niche issue. It is death by 1,000 cuts. And I actually made a comment on his video, and I did say that. I said, I'm a long-term jaded player, 7,000 plus hours in the game, countless more making content. So yeah, I get that. It's like, these things will bother me more than the average person. It isn't as bad as maybe it feels to me, because I am dealing with all these things given my job, like making content. I have to deal with this stuff more than the average person would.
And it is...
I can't like necessarily walk away because, like I said, I still like making content on the game. I'm just liking playing the game way less, but I still love content creation.
Unintentionally working with weaken, and it will override tether or tractor cannon to actually give you less damage. So for now, Divinity and Queenbreaker is a meta strat for the final boss.
Bobo.
But whenever Bungie fixes this, then just use 3 Queenbreakers and don't worry about doing any other form of weaken, because particle deconstruction is essentially the only source of weaken you need since they don't stack anymore.
Awaken to a world of wonder in Final Fantasy XIV Online.
Oh, and also on Zoetic Lockset, Unravel and Scorch and Ignitions do not work. And I think Joel...
So for Bobo's point, yeah, this content's brand new. He's talking about one encounter, one specific thing and one encounter here for a dungeon that came out 2 weeks.
Also, the exotic was not dropping from the dungeon. And again, why can't we just expect content to work when it's released? It's a terrible argument. Like, how low are your expectations if you're just like... And again, I've said this. I made a video where I talked about the best way to play Destiny now is to wait until the end of an episode, because all this shit will hopefully be fixed and you can do all your seasonal challenges. You're not time gated by anything. If I do keep playing Destiny, that's how I'm going to play. I'm not covering it for content anymore. But I will hop in at like the end of content cycles because I just can't take it anymore.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, you're right. And then Happy, you're also right. I paid, I think I paid $100 to play this game, and I've got over 400 hours in it.
Again, I bought every expansion at its most expensive, so I don't even know how much I've paid. Write it down in the comments if you know how many expansions that is. But I will say, he's right here. You still get amazing, like, dollars per hour in return. Like, I have thousands of hours in the game. And I mean, I'm a content creator, so I actually make money off the game. So I'm probably... But even still, players that don't play it, like my clanmates, or make content on it, my clanmates, they have thousands of hours in the game. You get good value. Like, there is a lot of content to do and explore in the game, especially if you're a raider and you do dungeons and all the endgame content. You do get good value for this game.
It's a pretty good deal so far already. There's a lot of content for me to do. There's a lot of stuff I haven't done. I paid about $100 for it. I think it was about $100 because I got it on sale.
Bolt and Unravel
Sorry, I keep pausing.
either, but it's hard to tell. Also, the poison from Necrotic Grip doesn't work. Again, this is very frustrating because shouldn't these things just apply to all enemies? It makes theory crafting damn near impossible because now you have to test every single thing individually, which takes a ton of time. But at the same time, it feels very not worth it because you never know if the...
Again, not only does it make theory crafting hard, but as Hugo and Greppo were saying, it's actually hindering you if you think you're being optimal and none of these things are working.
shit is untended or an unfortunate bug that may or may not be fixed. And then we have the Nether this episode, where Bungie nerfed the shit out of healing builds. And that would be fine if things were consistent, but again...
So this is another thing back to the QA thing, but with the Nether, things like Crimson, Unrelenting, I'm an advanced player. Lots of people are advanced players. An in-house QA team that knows Destiny would have thought to test those things. Crimson, that's fucking obvious. But as far as I know, they outsource a lot of their QA now. So these people are unfamiliar with Destiny, so they don't know the types of things that you should be testing in a game mode where you can't regenerate health anymore. Knockout was like super busted as well, because it's not like a restoration way to get health back.
Again, they're not. All verbs like restoration seem to not work, but things like unrelenting, crimson, and rat king do work. And I haven't tested it because I just don't give a single fuck anymore, but I would bet Crest of Alpha Lupi and Wormhusk Crown work in there too. It's just a hunch. But like I said, I truly don't care to go in and test every single potential solution anymore. I'm just over it. Bungie has completely lost my trust at this point, and I reckon I'm not alone. It's just a fucking shame that a game with such great gameplay and massive potential is ruined by them not caring about the two most important things: the quality of the game and the consumers. You show that you care about your consumers by providing them with a quality game, and the quality of the state of this game has been on a drastic downturn since Final Shade.
That's just true. It's just a fact.
And not coincidentally, that just happens to line up with them laying off a ton of QA staff. I mentioned how the Nether has no healing. Well, somehow that future even bled out into Revenant seasonal activities. Like I said, you can't take a damn thing at face value in this game anymore, and it's driving away dedicated players like me who used to love to test and tinker. All I can say is good riddance, and I can't wait to move on to Monster Hunter Wilds and hope that Capcom releases a polished game at
Me
launch.
too. I can't wait to move on to Monster Hunter as well.
See, so a lot of people said that was a slight. I might be a glass half full guy. I honestly took it as, like, not get the fuck out of the Destiny creator space, because I do feel I do more positive things for the community than harm. But I just thought he's like, yeah, man, like, you're fed up with the game. Move on to Monster Hunter, become happy in making content again. That's how I took it. And honestly, I am. I'm very excited to be a beginner again in Monster Hunter. I'm very excited to dive into a video game with my friends. I cannot recommend Destiny to a single one of my friends, yet I make a living off of this game because I know how predatory it is, and I know how unbeginner friendly it is, and some of my friends are like dads and more casual gamers and stuff. I cannot recommend Destiny to anyone. So a lot of my friends, we're going to play Monster Hunter together again, and I'm just so excited to be able to play with my friends again. Not that I dislike my clanmates, but I have been full Destiny for 5 years since I started creating content. Like, Monster Hunter is one of the few games I played. I played that when it came out in 2018, and then Warmind got really good, and then I've basically been on Destiny ever since.
I spoke in another video recently about how the best way to play the game is to wait a few months after release, and Heresy is proving that theory more.
I just talked about that, but it's true. And then this Brad guy, he's sort of living that. He is just new to the game, so he is getting to experience all this amazing content that the game does have to offer because he's just jumping in. And it's like, that is the best way to experience is after all these things are fixed and whatever. But as a content creator, you can't do that. Like, so much of your views and growth is tied to, like, talking about things as they're happening and covering it, because the hardcore players want to know what's going on and play it now. They don't want to wait. So I can't wait.
Right than I ever could have imagined. I kept the focus on the bugs in this video, but I'm also no fan of all these time gates. Time-gated dungeon exotic catalyst, time-gated barrow dyad perks. Let players play your fucking game.
Okay. That point is not a bad point. That point's not a bad point. For some things being time-gated, you could look at that as a positive. And looking at this situation as this stuff being time-gated, like the Nether and all this stuff, it eliminates the possibility of there being actual game-breaking bugs. So if they at least release a little bit at a time and something needs to be tweaked or fixed, they can get it a lot quicker than they would if they released all of the content. So that's one part that's...
So again, quit focusing on velocity over quality, Justin Truman. And maybe you can release all the things at once and it won't be broken. Again, I have been against time gating the whole time. And then people, here's their counterpoint. Oh, you'll be the first one complaining there's nothing to do. Again, I'm a creative person. I have so many video ideas at all times. I would love to just get all the content at once, play it at my own pace, and I could keep making videos. I'm one of the few fucking creators that was making videos last January, February before Into the Light. I had daily uploads pretty much from January to May. And then I remember I made a community post saying I'm going to miss some daily uploads because I was moving cities and I was training for a marathon. So, yeah, where's all these big creators? Even the Astacrosses, they're playing other video games during these lulls. Where have I been? I've been grinding this game, still making what I think is high quality or fun or informative content for people during the lulls. I love the lulls. So miss me with that shit saying, oh, you'll be the first to complain that there's nothing to do. I don't need new content to make my content because I'm actually creative.
It's positive for them gatekeeping some content, right? But a negative to that is people can get, like, just this past week, the gatekept content or the second week of content that they released took about 15, 20 minutes tops. And then you were done. It's like, okay, wait next week. That's very demoralizing and disheartening to be like, wow, so I got to wait a week to do, more of this seasonal activity. So,
right? It's demoralizing for him. I'm fucking 20 seasons into this shit since they've really done this cadence. Warmind wasn't really that and whatever. But these long-term players are 20 seasons into just getting this drip-fed stuff. He said 15 to 20 minutes of stuff, and then you're done for the week. What did I say? I said the only reason time gating exists in this game is so that they can get their weekly active user metrics. And that proves it right there. They give just enough, just 20 minutes of content, get you to log in for the week, do your fucking chores, hopefully spend some money on our Eververse store, and get off for the week.
I can get behind that idea. I can get behind that.
Anyways, rant over. Bungie, if any of you who work there see this, show your higher-ups and let them know the community doesn't appreciate your buggy messes of episodes. Thank God we are done with this terrible model. And Justin Truman, it might be time to switch up the philosophy. Maybe focus...
He doesn't work there anymore, right? Doesn't this guy not work there anymore?
I don't know, and I didn't look into it.
I think we can all agree
Let me
that
know
was
in
a
the
stupid
comments.
line. you should backtrack on that line there about over-delivered.
Focus on quality over velocity from now on. I speak for a lot of people.
Everyone focuses on the over-delivery thing, and I'm happy that the devs there don't crunch. For me, this is the more insidious quote. The velocity is more important than your position, because they are so fucking worried about their timelines and hitting their release dates that now we're just getting all these broken episodes and messes. To me, that's way worse than the over-delivery thing. The over-delivery thing is also taken out of context. Like he said, it's to keep them in check so that, because he says before it, you're either always crunching or you're never crunching. And yeah, we could debate back and forth what they really mean, and I don't want to get into that, but to me, the velocity more important than quality, that's the big issue in the game right now.
But when I say I would way rather get less frequent content drops, but know that I can actually play the game as intended.
Dude, you are being ridiculous. Bro, he sounds like... That is so ridiculous. That's a ridiculous... Come on, man. Hey, brother, that's a ridiculous thing to say.
It's not. It's genuinely how I feel. Like I said, I have content for days that I can make. I could go back and solo flawless every dungeon. Again, this game has good content, and I don't mind playing some of the older stuff. I do not need constant content to keep me on the treadmill, but the vast majority of the player base does. For me, what I love about the game is, like I said, getting in there and testing and tinkering and figuring out all these things. So when it doesn't work, that affects me. So he could say I'm crazy, but that's how I feel. Maybe people do want this half-baked, shitty, terrible quality stuff at a regular cadence. I don't. Give me one big drop a year, and I could easily make content on it. As long as it's polished and good, I could sink my teeth into it.
Because you can still play the game, just some things are broken. Like, it's genuinely, it's not like you're unable to do activities. It's not...
Again, you're not able to. That was a semantics thing. He's saying broken means you can't play the game. Well, for me, broken is I can't play the game I want, or how I want to play it. How I want to play it is, like I said, testing, tinkering, making cool builds for you guys. And I can't do that because I can't trust... Facet of Hope is like disabled right now. That's a huge part of multiple builds of mine, especially the Ascension Prismatic Hunter one, with gifted conviction, you can't use facet of hope because it's causing error codes. Like, what the fuck are we doing? All the bootlickers are going to say, oh, it's one fragment when you got a million build choices. I don't care. I don't care.
Like, he hasn't even brought up 0 hour. Because remember when we did 0 hour and then we did the ending of expert twice and we didn't get the drop? And then they took out 0 hour to fix it? It's not like that. It's not.
So he's literally talking about something that literally is unplayable and how he tried to play it and it's fucked. And he's saying, well, at least it's not like that. That shouldn't be an issue either, Brad. Fucking stand up for yourself.
Not like the dungeon underwent fucking some type of maintenance that took it offline. You can still complete the activity.
Rather than walking away pissed off because the game I once loved is damn near unplayable. And to the devs, I do want to give some props.
Unplayable?
The new aspects are
Unplayable for me. Unplayable for me because of how I like to play the game. So for me, it is, and my playtime reflects that. I barely have done Nether. I barely have done any of these things because I'm just so checked out because I can't play the way that I want to play. Sure, maybe it's a me issue.
awesome as hell.
This is ridiculous! Yo, we can't let people be saying this shit. Dog, this is the exact reason why I never played Destiny, was because there's so many videos that would say shit like that. To say the game is unplayable. What are you talking about? That is so ridiculous. You can't let people say that. You can't let your content creators get away with saying that shit, because it genuinely is hurting the community.
Like I said, I'm giving feedback to try to make Destiny better for everyone. So we can agree to disagree on that one. But he did talk over the point that I'm talking about because he was so hung up on me saying unplayable, where I'm giving the devs props for the new aspects that were introduced. The Void Hunter one and then the Arc and Titan Warlock ones. I say they're great. And they've opened up build craft, and they are great. And they seemingly work as intended, other than Ionic Sentry. Okay, so they got 67% good. There's issues with Ionic Sentry. Again, why can't Ionic Sentry just fucking work? As good as it is, it's great. But again, even that isn't working the way they're intending it. And I'm still using it, and it's good and usable, but it's like, come on, guys. I just want to play with your new aspects, and 1 out of 3 isn't working the way you wanted it to.
It's hurting the communities in two ways. One, it's deterring people from wanting to try it. And two, you have to play with these other individuals that want to jump on this bandwagon of, he's right, it is unplayable. But it's not.
Hell, and the sandbox changes this up.
It's unplayable for me. Like I said, I want to go into Nether, and certain things are working and certain aren't working. Like, it should just work the way it's intended, and then I can build around it. When I don't know what's intended and what's a bug, then I can't play the way I want to play, because I have a deep knowledge of this game. So it's like, oh, I have so many ideas that on paper could work in the Nether, but then I get in there and they don't, and it's like, okay, well, is that intended or is it a bug?
Episode have been a breath of fresh air. It's so awesome playing with new abilities and exotics that have been collecting dust in the vault for years. I just wish I knew if things were always working as intended.
Yeah, you agree.
Like, I love my new Geomags build, but Ionic Sentry doesn't proc any Ionic traces with Electrostatic Mind, even though it should. Is this for the sake of balance or an unfortunate bug? Not sure. All I know is it's keeping me from sharing this build until it's acknowledged or fixed, and that really sucks. And to the QA department, I know you are doing the best you can. You are just understaffed and lack resources to do your job properly. But I guess that's the price you gotta pay so Pete can bid on a few more cars. Anyways, that's it. Like and sub and leave your own comments down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Hey, if you're still here, then...
Man. I don't know. I feel like he's probably not a bad guy whatsoever, but...
And thanks, Brad. And I don't think you're a bad guy. And I am genuinely happy that you like Destiny. Truly. No beef to Brad as a person.
It's just not... It's not a good talking point. It's really not a good talking point. And this really does the update a disservice. I feel like if you wanted to make a video to go the most negative and obscure route, that you would use talking points that he used. Because there's nothing...
So another thing he said in his comment section a lot was, he talked about, like, I don't even think his points are invalid. I just think his delivery is, like, over the top and blah, blah, blah. Or I've seen it a couple times, him replying to comments saying, this could have been a private Discord chat between friends. And me and my friends have talked about this privately in Discords. But it's like, no, you have to give feedback. It is good for Bungie to hear that players are unsatisfied, because I at least care enough to take time out of my day to make a video. And I am moving on because I checked out pretty much after that video that I saw of Justin Truman. That was the big one where I'm just like, okay, things aren't going to change. Like, I can't keep going through this anymore. I'm at my end. And even on my way out, Cool Guy, I fucking love I Am Cool Guy. His content is so thorough, well-researched, excellent content creator. And he's doing great on, let's just look at his channel real quick. He's doing wonderful on Marvel Rivals. I can't hardly talk. He's doing wonderful on Marvel Rivals, and deserved. He's always been a very high quality content creator. This video, almost 500,000 views. Like, his view counts are crazy. He was probably, like me, long-term player of the game. I can't speak for him. I've never talked to him. But I do feel like I know how a lot of people in the community are feeling. The long-term community, the endgame community. And I think he was like probably ready to move on. And I am so happy to see him have success on another game. I hope I can have a fraction of the success moving to Monster Hunter that he's had. But this is so well deserved. But he didn't do this whole shit that I'm doing. And I know a lot of people are just like, move on already, dude. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna. You only have me for another week, and then you never have to hear from me again in the Destiny community. But like I said, for me, I want to give feedback and try to make it good for my friends who still enjoy the game that I play with all the time, because they're great people and they like the game. I have a YouTube channel that I started thanks to this game. And this one idiot in my Twitch chat said, like, how can you shit on a game that made you? Destiny didn't make me, man. I worked 2 jobs for 3 years, went full-time in 2024, was barely scraping by, like making $400 a month up until Into the Light, because, yeah, I was making content every day, but there just weren't eyes on the game. And then, no, I've worked my fucking ass off. You don't see any other creators that are basically solo. I do have an editor that I work with on like 1 out of every 15 or 20 videos, and I have my thumbnail guy for build videos, because I just like to make the thumbnails look as cool as they can, or he does, but he like brings my vision to life because I can't do it. But no, I work my ass off. Destiny didn't make me. My fucking hard work made me. And Destiny is just the avenue that I went down because I wanted to share my passion and love for the game. But Bungie has never reached out to me personally. I have no relationship with hardly any content creators, just small ones. Shout out Sutek, Time Lord, Ark. You guys are real ones. It's the Dub Gaming. He has really good content. That's another thing that maybe I'll get into after this reaction. But there's a lot of good small creators that are doing. Llama's a really good one, but he's blown up for good reason. Aegis is great. But you guys got to give these smaller creators a chance, because they actually have not phoned in content. Their content is like actually helpful and meaningful and comes out of passion, not just to clog the YouTube algorithm. But to bring it back to Cool Guy, he just switched games. He didn't give any feedback on Destiny. Again, he might just be wanting to take a break. He might come back. True Vanguard's done the same thing. True Vanguard also, he's had success in other games, and I'm super happy for those guys. But like I said, they didn't go down the negative content route or perceived negativity. Again, I know these videos come off as negative, but it's coming from a place of wanting to have a discussion, a conversation, to make Destiny the best game it can. So shout out Cool Guy. I love that you're loving Marvel Rivals, and I hope I love Monster Hunter as much as I loved Destiny, and that I can make really good content on that. But yeah, like I said, so for me, I am ready to move on, but I want to give feedback on my way out the door so that more great content creators like Cool Guy don't leave for other games. Because honestly, like I said, I've had content or comments where people have said, you're the reason I'm still playing this game, which means so much to me. It's crazy. And I don't take that lightly. So yeah, I want to do right by you guys by speaking up. I even worked at a job before I went full time, and management was terrible. And I raised a bunch of concerns. I left. And a few months later, The guys tried to unionize, and corporate actually got rid of some managers and cleaned house. So I know how important speaking up can be to enacting change. So that's why I'm doing this. You might, Brad and all these people that love Bungie, they might think I'm just being negative and doing this for views. But truly, I'm trying to help the game. And I do feel these conversations help.
Thing about the new content that's unplayable. And also, a lot of people they've praised the Nether for the inability to regen health so quickly, because it's a different play style that you have to undergo, and a lot of people love that. I just can't agree with it. No hate to him, no hate to his content, no hate to him as a person, obviously, but this is exactly what the community in this game doesn't need, because it, like I said, it deters new players from even trying it out, because I was one of those people that would hear nothing but negative things about this game, like it's unplayable, broken, all these buzzwords, and I would be like, why would I want to play that? I don't want to play that. And then it gives people a false sense of reality. It's not broken.
And that may be true. Some people do just listen to videos online and don't make decisions for themselves. So maybe I have gatekept some people from trying it with some of my videos. I don't know. But like I said, I've also brought other people back to the game with my videos. So you win some, you lose some, I guess.
Whatsoever. It's just, I don't, yeah. It's just ridiculous. This is our first Destiny 2 hater video that we watched where they're just kind of like shitting on it. Some of the points were okay about the gatekept content, but they're only making these videos because there are pitchforks and torches in everybody's hands in the comment section. And it validates a video like this. It's unfortunate, man. My advice to these people that say stuff like this about the game, or any of these people in the comment section, go play another game.
Yep, and that's what I'm gonna do. So Bungie made their bed and now they're gonna lay in it. They're driving away some of their most dedicated players like me to go play new games. So I'm gonna take your advice, Brad, and I'm really excited to see where I am in a year from now and what my channel looks like.
You think Bungie's bad? There's a lot worse out there. You think they fucked up? Man, there's a lot worse.
There's a lot worse? Well, I'm hoping Capcom's not one of them.
Alright, so now for the part of the video that's really going to get me some hate, but as the Cross puts out a fuck ton of slop content, that was my first reaction video, but he does lots of reactions. Some of his stuff is really good, but as you can see, I don't really ever watch him anymore. Yeah, he's a brand at this point. He's too corporate. He's got like 20 plus people working for him. And I really respect his story. Again, I'm a long-time Destiny player. He was one of the first people I watched, and he's talked about how the Curse of Osiris days were really scary. He had a kid pretty young, and he was like, fuck, do I have to go back to work? Am I going to be able to make Destiny work? He stuck it out, and it paid off massively. He started hiring editors and thumbnail guys. But the problem now is when he has that, he has to be pumping out content to pay these people. So a lot of his content, I mean, he gets crazy views. Like, plus, I'm sure he's sponsored. He's got a huge Twitch following. He's making bank. And, like, good for him, man. Like, he has worked his ass off. Still works his ass off. I know he even has all these people working for him, and I still wonder, I'm like, how do you voice record all this stuff? Like, he does work his ass off. But like I said, start giving some smaller creators a chance, because I always felt I had very good content, even when no one was giving my stuff the time of day. And honestly, a lot of his stuff is just for the YouTube algorithm. It's not really to help the player base. So if you're trying to get better, I don't know, don't really watch him. So anyways, we were asked to carry a new light in a raid. We failed. I didn't watch this, but this has this Bradley guy. And then if we go down here, he reacted to Bradley's first video, which I'll get to in a second. Hopefully I can find it. So yeah, here it is. He reacted to this, "Is Destiny 2 really that bad?" by this Bradley guy. And I had actually watched that and Cross's reaction. Like I said, I don't watch like hardly any of his reaction stuff. Like Asmongold and these guys, it's just slop so they can make money, honestly. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, this was his first Destiny video, which is pretty interesting. Did he just happen to like cross his editors, came across this and were like, this would be good to react to? Or is he actually a plant? Because I just laughed these comments off at first. I read a lot of comments on Bradley's video, but it's like, yeah, you can read this. Just people saying, I'm starting to wonder if you're a paid plant by Bungie because you offer up the same shit that Bungie tries to float. I'm going to unsub and block you, but whatever. Bungie's a shit company, was a shit product, but you go ahead and keep accepting their lies. Someone else says something, yeah, first Bungie industry plant. And then this has nothing to do with this video, but I'm starting to suspect Bradley is kind of sponsored by Bungie. It is just interesting because obviously I was like, who is this guy? He was doing like Tinder stuff, maybe some self-help things. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really watch this guy. I assumed when Cross had reacted to him that he was like a huge Warframe streamer, is what I figured. And so like that was the connection. And then my buddy Baker had said they carried him through a Crota's End. Maybe they know each other in real life. I don't know the connection, but it's just kind of interesting that the very first video he made on Destiny 2 was reacted to by the biggest Destiny creator that we have. I mean, Datto's huge, but what I love about Datto is he only speaks when he feels he has something to say. Datto, he's got great takes. His content is really high quality. Like, obviously he's been doing it for years. You're going to get better. My videos have improved as well. But like Datto, like I said, he only makes videos that he wants to make and talk about. He could shit out a video every day and make hella money and get hella views because he is that popular and his quality is that good. But he doesn't. Where with Cross, like I said, he has a whole team to pay, and so he has to be putting out multiple videos a day. I remember back in the day when he started putting out more than one video a day, and he would apologize in those videos at the start. He's like, hey, sorry guys, like I know we're having so many videos right now, but like new content's out and we're just trying to get the info to you. And people appreciated it because like it was good, informative content still. But now it's just content to pay the bills. It's soulless the way I see it. Not all. There are some, a lot of his testing stuff, the stuff that I care about, again, the ins and outs and the numbers, all the patch notes before and after, those are great, but those do take a whole team of people to make. I did before and afters way back when there was a bunch of sandbox changes. Hold on, before we get to the sandbox change videos, these were breakdowns of every armor mod in the game. I was a pretty small channel at this time, like this is over 3 years ago. But yeah, this took months of time and effort. So I know what these testing videos take for like how much time and effort you have to put into them. And then these were those then versus now videos when I was testing like before and after patch notes stuff. And these videos, 16,000 views. This was huge for my channel at the time. I was just under 1,000 subs and I had just hit 1,000 subs and I had spent like 5 days testing all these things and putting out these videos. Like I was putting up multiple videos a day, but it takes a long time. And then that is when I had that video that really popped off. This was a Monday night. I put this out at 1 in the morning just because I wanted to get that video out. And that was when particle deconstruction was around. So I didn't even test that mod because all the big names had already covered that. So I made this one, and to this day, that is my most viewed video. But again, it's just because I like tinkering. I wanted to share stuff with the community. But like I said, this was like 5 days of work being on the game and just making videos for the first 5 days of the new content. So I didn't even like get to play any of the new content. I was just in lost sectors testing out all the before and after footage. So yeah, it's nice that we have a guy like Aztecross that has a team of people so that people don't have to completely fuck their sleep schedules for like a week at a time to get that info out to the community. But like I said, a lot of his content is just slop content and it clogs up the algorithm, preventing smaller channels from getting found. So like I said, again, I'm just trying to go to bat for the smaller creators in the YouTube community because I'm moving on, but there are good ones out there that are sort of similar to me in that they just want to help people and put out informative things. And yeah, so I just wanted to add that little piece in there. So yeah, I don't know if Brad is an industry plant, and if you see this, Brad, let me know down below how you got linked up with Aztecross as soon as you came to the game, because I am genuinely curious, and how you got Bungie to reach out to you on stream and do a hotfix. Like I said, I've been a dedicated community member for basically all of D2's lifespan, and I've never had any communication with Bungie or big creators like Cross. Maybe the stars just aligned for you. Anyways, that's it for the video. Again, no hate to Brad or to As the Cross. Like I said, I really respect how hard Cross works, and I just think he is a family man taking advantage of his reach to give his family the best quality of life that he can. Content creation careers are very fleeting, so he is getting his bag and striking while the iron is hot, and I respect that. I just wish the Destiny community would dig a little deeper and find authentic creators, rather than just watching whatever the algorithm feeds them. Anyways, don't worry, I only have a handful of Destiny videos left, and then you won't have to keep seeing me in your feed. Take care. Hey, if you're still here, then thanks so much for watching to the end. If you like what I do and you want to support me further, then consider becoming a channel member. You'll get your name featured on the end screen, custom badges, and other cool rewards. You can also join my community Discord if that interests you, and if you want to see me stream, be sure to follow me on Twitch at itstizzle7 where I stream semi-regularly. Those are linked in the description. Anyways, that's enough self-promotion. Thanks for watching. Take care.